We are 2 days before Christmas in 2025 if you're watching this later. So, welcome to Heller Barnes. And we have a fantastic guest today. Garrett's going to join us, and he's here right now. And Johnny,
Hello.
before we get started with our guest, how you doing?
I'm doing very well. Thanks for asking. Happy holidays to everybody. Merry Christmas to those who celebrate. Happy Kwanzaa, happy Hanukkah, happy I have no idea what the other things
Happy
are.
Tuesday.
Yeah, whatever myths you subscribe to, happy ones. Yeah. So yeah, whatever floats your boat, unless it's really awful.
And can you give us
Hap
the traditional how in the world did you and Garrett get to know each other?
With this, I'll do my very best. My my bestest friends are the gang I hang with, Phil Thron and Gary Bennett and Adam Barr stuff over at the over at, New England Narrator Retreat. Um, and Garrett, I don't know who he's friends with, but was in the group, and I'm thinking, "Who's a new guy?" And I treated him very bad because we had a little club,
Terrible.
man. I made him, made him go through some, hazing.
That was
Um,
amazing.
yeah, no, but I remember meeting him as a friend of would have been Gary Bennett, I guess, because Seattle.
Mhm.
Isn't that we met in New England, yes?
Yeah, absolutely. That was just last year.
That's when it was?
Um, yeah,
Oh my gosh, wait, you
yeah,
were
that
there
was
before last year, weren't you?
no, 2024. I had just moved out to Maine from Seattle and hit you up to see if there was any room left in the narrator retreat, and you called me because somebody canceled and blah, 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 blah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
So we met and now we're friends, right?
correct.
There you go.
Absolutely.
That's how it happened,
So
something
how
like
long
that.
have you been doing this, Garrett? I mean, you started off, you right out of high school, you started working audiobooks. Is that correct?
Lord, no.
Oh,
No, no. This is my 4th career, I think? 4th career? Um,
A stick
yeah.
to it kinda guy.
Had to yeah, well, 2nd marriage too. Um, so, yeah, no, I started this about 7 years ago. Actually, talking with you this morning when
oh,
you brought up on Facebook,
that's
on the
funny.
Facebook Messenger, "Hey,
Yeah.
we haven't talked in 7 years." Like,
Well,
that was
we had a message. I think you joined some group that I was, and I
yeah,
I used to send out a personal message to everybody who joined back when these groups had 3, 4, 500 people, and
yeah,
I don't do that today. But I had sent you a message, and when we messaged about this, I looked at the date and realized our last communication directly. We've talked since then at the New England event, but was 7 years ago. We had a
mhm.
message thread back and forth, and then we've become such good friends that we didn't talk to each other for 7 years. But
That was when I was just starting to think about doing this. I hadn't
Yes.
even done a book yet.
okay,
Your
It
beard was
was
merely a mustache in those days. Yeah.
No, 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 it's always been. Um, it yeah, it was 7 years ago, just broke 104 books, I think. Um,
awesome.
yeah, no, things are going gangbusters.
And your
But
background, so your background, obviously, that led you to this was something about being a chef. Is that how did that work out? Just hope,
sure,
please, let's go back. Why in the
sure.
world are you in this business now? What got you here to this?
Let's
And then we'll
start
talk
with
about
your
your
birth.
backstory.
Start with your
Well,
birth and
it
go
was
from there.
a warm evening in May. Um, okay, how do I start? I have wanted to be a narrator since I've wanted to narrate. Back then, there were books on tape.
Ah,
Uh, I had this. I've been wanting to do it since I was 6, 7, 8, like since I could read. I had this little red plastic Fisher Price 1970s, 80s. I'm sure some of you had these tape recorder. It was like oval shaped, and I have memories of me recording myself reading like old woman living in a shoe or the old. I know an old lady who swallowed a fly, and
Oh,
I
yeah.
just
Yeah, yeah.
record that over and over and over. Um, and my parents thought I was sick, so no, um, no, they loved it too, but it just didn't work out. So getting to actually be able to do a literal childhood dream is I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. It's like living a dream. It has me convinced we are in fact living in a simulation because there's no way this could be real. It's crazy.
Well, what I find fascinating is you had a dream to do audiobook narration. For a lot of people I've talked to in the business, it's something that they happened into, they settled on, or they couldn't get the results they wanted in film, television, or stage, and settled on this instead to see if they can check off the boxes. So I always think it's fascinating. People don't realize just how fulfilling, and I think we should talk about that for a minute, how fulfilling audiobook narration can be on a number of levels. Let's go back. You trained in theater, yes?
Yeah, yeah, that was what I did in college. The University of Puget Sound out in Tacoma, Washington. Yeah, I got a theater BA in theater and communications, and was actually a working music theater actor in Seattle for a number of years.
Mhm.
That was fantastic. Got my equity card and the whole thing. Moved to New York on September 1st of 2001, and
Oh,
that
that's a
was the
good
end of.
year.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
so
yeah.
It's
great.
when that was the right time to move to New York for theater because it really
Oh,
boomed after that, didn't it?
yeah, it didn't shut down at all,
Right.
and
Well,
so it
but
was.
now we have some age challenge friends with us today. For those that don't know, that would have been approximately 3 weeks before, well, a week and a half before September
Maybe.
11th when we
Yeah.
had some, our terrorist attack. And so you got to New York right at a time where basically there was at least a couple months where nothing was going on, right? I don't know. Well, how did it
Oh
work?
no,
You
Broadway.
tell me.
Yeah, Broadway shut down. Everything shut down. I was
Everything
actually on.
shut down. It was
Yeah, I was on my way to my first audition that morning. Um, couldn't make the train, obviously.
where are you staying in New York?
Oh, at the time I was in Linden, New Jersey,
Yeah, yeah, uh-huh.
just outside of Elizabeth. A friend that I went to college with happened to have a roommate situation open up, and it's like, oh, if I always wanted to try New York, now's the time.
Did you feel like because you were in a New Yorker prior to that week before the
Mhm.
terrorist attack, I mean, I look back at it because I was there. I was here. I mean, I had an appointment downtown in the World Trade Center that morning, and I was late. Thank God.
Thank God.
So,
Holy
there before the
moly.
grace of God, but I mean, the feeling in Manhattan was, well, it's horrific. The if there's a positive in such a thing, it was how people really seem to care about each other
It was awesome. It
for
was
for the
awesome.
better part of a week.
Oh yeah. And then the anthrax started.
Before it's back to, "Hey, I'm walking here." Before that, it was something, "Hey, pardon me, I'm walking here. Would you like to walk with me?" You know, that was nice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, every interaction with somebody was just, okay, get home safe.
Yes, yeah, and it
Thanks.
was, yeah, and you think, and they
I'd like
meant it
to.
because, good lord, who knew?
Yeah. But no, that was a fantastic. That was a horrible experience, but that was a definitely a positive at the end of it. I wish you could get back
So
there now.
did you get to do theater here in the lovely town of island of Manhattan?
No, I burned through what savings I had from selling my car, and I ended up doing real estate for a little while with it doesn't matter who, and then I ended up at Broadway Cares Equity Fights AIDS. Actually,
Ah,
really fantastic nonprofit right in the center of Times
still
Square.
exists, still
Oh yeah,
runs?
oh yeah. So I worked there for the balance of my time in New York, and
Ah,
then back to Seattle.
and after New York, what became of you?
Oh, Seattle theater some more. Um, I had was engaged at this point and wanted a job I didn't have to audition for every couple months. So decided, you know what, culinary school, here we go.
Now,
And
why'd you pick that? That seems like a natural, progression, but how did that work for you?
I'd always also wanted to be a chef. Um, I was cooking since I was a little kid. Uh, and
How
it
many
seems
things
like
did you wanna be? Because 'Cause we're running out of time on the show
well,
too.
we'll get to astronaut in
Yeah, so I
about
was
5
thinking,
minutes. Yeah, yeah.
well, I
Yeah,
wanted a
Blue
long-running
Angels
career
pilot.
I wanted to be a long-running career in snuff films, but I couldn't get a recurring role. Yeah.
That's good. So, yeah, did that for a number of years, and then, yeah, then just got basically aged out of it. If anyone out there's ever been a line cook, you know what that feels like. Once you hit 40, that's just not something your knees can do anymore.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
Same with
it's
tendon bar after a
oh,
while.
for sure, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I
That's a
did.
young man's game, or young person's game. Sorry.
Well,
Um,
when we talked,
yeah.
in New England, I remember we talked, I was one of the things I was fascinated about because I enjoy cooking, and Joanna and I are kind of foodies, and I've been to some fantastic places because some of my friends have been chefs, or
Mhm.
or some of Joanna's friends have dated chefs and things. It really changes everything in a restaurant if you're there as a guest of the chef.
Oh, for sure.
It's an amazing
Yeah.
experience, and the things you get, I mean, the culinary world still fascinates me, and I'm gonna, pursue some culinary, things that I think in this coming year, and I was gonna call you about some things. I wanna ask some
Yeah,
advice and some
please.
cool things to make, because
For sure.
that's a skill once you have it, you don't lose that.
No. Well, no, that's true. Once you have the basics, you can always do the basics. But it's like with anything else, if you're not using it, you're sort of losing it. So you gotta
It's kinda like
keep
what goes
practicing
with
it.
what, and what mixtures and what's new and what's different. I mean, you look
Sure.
at, as opposed to bartenders, like mixologists now.
Yeah.
Max Zener, who's a Max,
Yeah.
he was on the show, and I go to his house sometimes, and he just makes these whiz bang weird ass cocktails. I mean, when I tended bar, if you asked me something weird, you were lucky if you got a Heineken from me. So so now, but now these guys they mix things I wouldn't have thought of, like Prosecco with, like rum or something, just stuff
Sure.
they
Sure, sure,
wouldn't
sure.
think of, and the flavors are just incroyable. That's French, by the way. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Now,
It's
is there
good.
anything about that career that has carried over for you to how does any of that relate? It teach you something about this business?
About this business? Yeah. I've actually been thinking about this one a little bit. Um, it I guess like with any sort of and any job really, it's all about planning ahead of time, especially with cooking. We have the term for it. It's called mise en place, where everything has its place. So everything's ready to go. You have everything laid out. All your ingredients are this X, Y, Z. It's all measured out. It's all done ahead of time. So all you have to do is bang, 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 throw it in the saute pan and do what you're going to do. Um, I also there's the well, I can't be done yet. I have to get this done, so I can't go sit down. I've got this, rail full of tickets,
Got this book in the oven. Yeah.
and I have to get it done by X amount of time. Um, and that has definitely both of those have carried over. Uh, it can be long hours sitting in a box by yourself, um, and it can start getting to you. But
Excuse
if
me.
you have a deadline, because then another project starts 12 hours after that, and you got to prep this other thing, you don't have time to not do it. So you push yourself, you get through it, you do it, and then you move on.
I
But
don't wanna lose our trail of thought here, but I wanna say, David,
Yeah,
Goodall has a question, which we'll get to in a little bit. I don't want to,
yeah.
I guess maybe we can talk about it. You wanna do it now
sure,
I
or
don't.
later?
Sure.
What the hell? The question's here. We'll take questions, 'cause just ask us anything. So,
So it says,
young David,
Johnny,
right?
ease my mind. In case somebody's just listening and doesn't see this, Johnny, ease my mind. Xmas present. Tell me that audiobooks won't be eaten by AI.
All right, they won't be. Merry Christmas. Okay, let's move on. No, so here's, as I've said, and a lot of people said, my friend Adam Werner wrote an amazing blog about this. A lot of people have posted all over the place. Here's the thing. The fear of AI is well-founded and well-grounded, but not necessarily perfectly researched by us. Those who fear losing work to AI have to start understanding what AI does for their producers that you're not doing. They have to start, but the most important thing, we use AI all the time. Every time, you get in your car and you say, Give me the best direction to wherever the hell it is," that's AI. Don's got this pre-read. If you watched our show or listened to our show, it's got a program that's AI based. It is. So many things we do naturally. When you ask Alexa, when you ask Siri, when you ask anybody, that's all AI. Will it take our jobs? Here's the thing: AI can't act. AI has no emotional life, has no sense memory. Everything that Stanislavski and then later acting teachers brought forth. And I'm definitely want to hear you guys think about this too. But here's my thinking: everybody out there in the acting, everybody who acts for a living and wants to act for a living, has to work very hard to master your craft always. Don mentions it frequently that I study. Well, I do. I want to be better tomorrow than I am today. Always. I want every book I do to be just that much better. I don't want to do the same things over and over. I don't want to I want my choices to be fresh and spontaneous and based in what's happening in the scene. You need to understand acting. Many, 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 many people come into the business we guys are in saying, people said I have a nice voice, and that's great. It's so much nicer than a shitty voice. But so what? Can you act? The voice cannot act. You can, and AI cannot act. So let's discuss it. You need to up your game and be constantly upping your game so that AI can't keep up with you, not the other way around. And there will be listeners out there who prefer AI, who prefer there's no pregnant pause, who prefer there's no choices made, who get used to people get used to AI, they'll get used to AI. Nothing will change great acting, and that is a peculiarly, and forever human endeavor. That's what I believe. So here's your Christmas present. Be better than AI, and you will not lose your job to AI. But also be smart. Don't audition and do things that look scammy and bad that you don't know they're going to steal your voice and use it. Make sure it's a contract. Get a union contract. SAG-AFTRA has strong union representation. Take advantage of it. I think NAVA has some, the National National Association of Voiceover Artists, I think. So they've been working really hard. And they've got a lot of fine writers, AI writers and stuff, but you need that to be contractually in there. And all of us do. All of us need to be aware that AI in and of itself isn't good or bad. Users are. And that's where it comes from. Okay.
And so his next comment is fair enough, but producers will say good enough, just saying it will shrink the pool. Yeah, it in some ways, of course it will, but that's happened in every technology. And I always have this story because I was a drummer, and drum machines came in. And today, if you're a piano player, you can program a drum part, and you can do something where you don't need a drummer to produce music yet. All my peers that were, I was close to and around my level, there's a few of them that are world famous today. They stuck out the time when drum machines came in and took over a bunch of the work for young drummers. And because they stuck it out today, they're in demand because the world still wants real musicians playing in real time. Now, on some of the recordings, there's 1 billion recordings out there that have no drummer on them today.
It's like music lovers who like the vinyl. They like the needle on the turntable.
Yeah.
It's that idea.
Yep.
And I'm reading David's other thing. Most publishers, producers that work with SAG-AFTRA sign an agreement. They don't want AI.
Well, they don't
It's
want
a human-based business. A lot of people don't. Audible does because Jeff Bezos is who he is, but that's it.
And there will be a lot of books that never would have gone to audio that will now be available in audio because some author who doesn't realize what the market is, it'll be good enough for their audience because it wasn't a great book to begin with. And so if it wasn't a great book to begin with, they may not invest to have a narrator, and that's fine. And there will be, it'll come full circle, I predict, because I've lived it. The automation took over a lot of work for musicians and still has. And yet there's more opportunities for I wish I was a young musician today because of what the tech has been able to do for a young musician in terms of distribution, in terms of 100 other things, but it's morphed from what I would have had to do as a young guy to make it as a musician because of where the tech was and what you have to do today. But there's more opportunity. And I see some of these young guys and gals and I'm like, man, cool. That is so cool. I wish we had that. So they're taking advantage of the tech and doing cool things with it. And they're making a good living because they're, staying current and staying great at their craft. So you'll have to do the same thing.
Have you had
do
any,
that.
Garrett, have you had any experience or issues with the AI in your careers thus far in the business?
No, just the sort of that general concern. I think there's been a lot of vision on it from everybody, and that's been really helpful because you'll have to learn a lot just to start it in the first place. And then you have that on top of it. I will say when people ask me about narrating, I got real lucky because I started even before the pandemic when the ACX blew up. But it's definitely something I say maybe now's not the best time to start into it. Without having a bunch of acting background and that kind of stuff too, just because it's competitive enough.
Yeah.
And AI is not gonna help with that, unfortunately. But we can also help use AI ourselves for prepping or proofreading or other things too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's benign by itself, and also just the low-hanging fruit. there's not going to be anybody. My wife's done 1,000 of these things. If I want to be annoyed, I can call about 500 different companies and listen to somebody say, press 1 to get to the library. My wife has done hundreds and hundreds of those things over the years, and
Sure.
there should be almost zero market for that over the next 2 years, because now AI can do that well enough. Now, she doesn't really give a rip because she's got a theater background and she's doing enough audiobooks and all that doesn't matter. But that's low-hanging fruit. It doesn't require a world-class actor to say, press 1 to reach. It's better if it's good, but point being, that is going to go away. Yes.
Pick
So
what accent you'd like to
Johnny
hear.
will be the new phone tree guy, but everybody else, it'll be AI, okay?
Hello.
Yeah.
Who is?
So, all right, so you went to chef school, and then at what point did you realize that you turned 40 and said, I can't stand this anymore? I'm now, you're on to, how'd you get started with the audiobook? What was your first one like?
The first one was just an ACX audition, but it was PFH right out of the bat, which was kind of fun.
Cool.
It was an experience, man. It was, oh, I have to sit here every day for how many hours to do what? And got through it, and then you have to listen to it back to yourself, and I like everybody, I hate listening to my own voice. So you have to do all that just to get the proofing done. So that was a whole fun bit. But then one of my heroes in all of this is R.C. Bray, and he I don't know, the way he does it is fantastic. And I read his whole website on what it's like to start and get into it and that kind of stuff. So
I
said,
didn't
hey,
catch the name. Who is this you're talking about?
R.C. Bray,
Oh, R.C. Bray. Yeah, Bobby Bray.
yeah.
Bobby Bray.
So then I sent him an email saying, hey, here's a clip from what I just did. You're a big inspiration, and I just wanted to say thank you. And he wrote back, and he gave me notes, and it was very positive. So it was bursting into tears, and it was just this awesome experience. So that was great. That was a lot of fun. And then he actually told me to go to APAC back in 2019. So got to go and meet him and all that. And now here I am. A few years later.
That's what and now here I am. No, not exactly the big finish I was hoping for.
I don't know how to be bigger than that. I'm sorry.
And so I did it.
So we do have a couple good questions here. So David's asked, I know, do you guys read the entire book before beginning a book, nonfiction only, or just read on the fly? Now, I do like that he's qualified nonfiction only, because nonfiction is just, reading, right? I mean,
I'm going to say no to that one. I actually just did a nonfiction book for Spotify. Turned it in literally yesterday. Kind of a fun story around this too. So Rin reached out after a New England Narrators retreat. When she got to, we were able to kind of perform for Johnny and get notes, and then Rin was there listening to the whole thing. So then we emailed back and forth, and I got an audition for this book. Just finished it yesterday. It's called A Killing in Cannabis.
A killing in who?
A Killing in Cannabis.
Cannabis, you said.
Yeah. Like, yes. And I'd never done a nonfiction book before. So what the hell? Give it a shot. And I auditioned. It was great. And it turns out, excuse me, it's about the CEO of the Silicon Valley CEO. Great timing. The Silicon Valley CEO who got into the weed business in Santa Cruz, in a little town called Los Gatos in the Santa Cruz Mountains, which is where I grew up.
Oh.
We were neighbors, apparently, because you could see it described where his plot of land was and where we lived, and we were literally the next house over. So the guy,
oh no, I could have had.
So it's a whole it's a murder mystery kind of thing, true crime.
Yeah.
about him getting murdered and then all of that stuff. But just when I say the size of the community this is, I went to middle school with 180 kids total. It's everybody knew everybody. It was this teeny, teeny little town. So the fact that this happens to be exactly where I grew up, talking about all the places I knew, that was one of the more entertaining audiobooks experiences I've ever had. It was like, oh, the Summit store. I know the Summit store. I know what. And then it was, yeah, it was a lot of fun.
So that's just
There,
reading, though, since it's a nonfiction, right? Why
Oh
do you
no.
need to be? So
Oh
what
no. There
about
were.
it
Sorry.
made it interesting, or how do you approach it differently and take nonfiction seriously?
It's still telling a story. And that's you still have to find the narrative of that story to tell that story. In this case, it was really easy because it was just the amount of characters in this thing were hilarious. And they're all just, in the weed business in Santa Cruz, and they're all nuts. So it was fun to be able to use those as like a base character to kind of weave the story through. And the way the author wrote it was fantastic.
I'll say a lot of
Yeah.
narrators, actors or not, tend to look at they seem to understand, hey, I've got to read the fiction books. I know it's happening. Let me answer the question. Yeah, you've got to read the whole book. In my world, yes, you do. I've done over 1,200 books and I've read them all prior to narrating them. Now, are there times you can take little shortcuts? Yes. You'll find that out as your career and your experience dictate. A shortcut shouldn't be taken when you don't know what you're doing. Take the long way, then you'll learn things. And in terms of reading a story, and also we say you don't have to read nonfiction. Nonfiction's a huge umbrella that covers a million things. What Garrett just told you about, there are place names, people's names, real people in real places. You've got to say those. And the thing is, Paul Rubin always says, and I agree with him, in fiction, you play the story, you play what's happening, you play the scene moment to moment like an acting script. In nonfiction, pardon me, for the most part, depending what kind of story it is, you play the author's passion for the topic. If it's a book on photosynthesis, God forbid, you may not like it, but the author does, and so do the people who are going to buy that book or listen to that book. It's not your job to make any judgments. Your job is to be the expert in photosynthesis, if that's indeed what it's about. In Garrett's book with the true crime, well, that reads a lot like fiction. It's a storyline. This happened, you're telling a story. I just came out with one of the biggest books this year. It's The Gales of November, The Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald.
Yeah, congratulations on that.
Thanks.
That's awesome.
It's a big book, and John Bacon has trusted me with his nonfiction works. Maybe the 6th or 7th time I've met him. We're friends. Some authors I read for write stuff for me. Sometimes they change it, and you have to earn that trust, earn that respect, and you have to read that book. There are people who still live. The families of the people who died on the Edmund Fitzgerald still live. They're relatives, so you have to do them some honors. So yeah, you have to read every book. I think you do. Toward the end of today's show, Don will give a rundown of his pre-reader, which is a prep material that can really help. It does not replace reading the book.
Right.
And if you hire someone to prep, that's fine. And I've done it a couple times and I've been really busy. Don's thing does that, but I'll tell you what, it doesn't replace reading the book. And even though I had a prepper, I found enough time to read it. I'd never do a chapter of anything without having looked at it.
Right.
And the only difference can be those books that you go, hello, I know you're going through a tough divorce. Well, I've gone through it and I came out the other end and I still have my house and my car and my kids. Here's how you too can, whatever it's about. The I'm okay, you're okay. A lot of those books follow the similar things, as Don mentioned on other shows. Here's I'm going to tell you this. Here's me telling you. Here's me summing up what I just told you. That kind of storyline is, and so you can, if it's the same thing over and over, which a lot of those books are, you can. I've skimmed some of those, to be frank. I don't advise anyone to do such a thing unless they're super experienced.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what's in there, and you've got, if you're playing the author, you got to find who that author is. I'm sorry, that's enough. So yes, read the damn book.
Yeah,
lazy bastards. Yeah,
and
I would
do
say,
think, like every other industry, once you've done a 500 or 100, or we'll pick your number, If you were doing a series and you were on book 7 of a series, then that's a different approach than if you were on book 1 of that. And if you're with the same author and you're on book 7 of their series, yeah, you might have some shortcuts, but you've earned it from doing the first 6 books. So you didn't start off on, but Johnny would never start on book 1. And I just can't say Garrett starting on book 1 without doing a full read. And something like pre-read, something like
What
a
happens
prepper
here?
it's like, you know,
He
yes,
died.
preppers, you're prepping, someone else is prepping for you, that's fine, but you still read because those are
Yeah.
summaries.
Yeah.
They're not the whole thing.
And
So
even with, I'm going to agree with you that like the first book of a series, especially if you know it's going to be biggie or really dense, like these big lit RPG things,
Oh yeah.
you gotta know like the system, how that's going to work, because all these books are different, all the major characters and all of that. But by the time you're on book 4 or 5, you're probably not getting too many huge new characters. Sometimes you are, but even on those, I'll read like the first and last sentence on every paragraph, so I have some semblance of what's going on. Is there, are there new characters? Is any of these people going to die? That kind of stuff. But for the most part, yeah,
Before we go to
analyze the
Chris
hell out of it.
Walsh's question, I want to ask Garrett. Garrett, you said this your first nonfiction, the true crime that Rin gave you?
Correct.
So prior to that, what kind of stuff have you been doing? You've got 100 some odd books.
Yeah.
What genres are you mostly doing?
It's mainly now, thanks to Athon Books, mainly lit RPG, some progression fantasy, and a lot of sci-fi.
What's the
Yeah.
middle fantasy? What preceded the word fantasy?
Progression fantasy. It's
What?
like lit RPG, but without all the stats.
Oh, okay. For those who don't, lit RPG is like it's a quest kind of thing. Someone's in an alternate universe, and they kill things to get points and all these different
just like real life.
personality and fighting agility and all that stuff. And there's chunks at the end of every chapter, generally, where we update the stats. For those who love it, it's great. For those in there, it's oh god.
Yeah,
Because,
but
like,
that means here's the thing. I'll bet when you read those stats at the end, you sound enthused. You are using your acting chops to
Oh, absolutely.
to be emotional and to make sure that it sounds like I should not know that Heller thinks that's boring, correct?
correct. But I think I've mentioned I've done at least 5 books on human genome stuff. I have
Oh my
no clue what I'm
God.
talking about.
You're so
Yeah.
But you
passionate about
listen to me,
that.
I
Sound
sound like, "Wow, he
fantastic.
knows what he's talking about," but I don't.
How about you? How do you keep, so do you teach it, do you approach it like a theater production in a sense?
Absolutely. Yeah. That going back to the first book in every series, I'll annotate it out so every character's voice is in a different color, so you can read through
Oh,
a
you're
little
one of those
quicker.
guys.
Um, and it helps. It helps a lot, but not for every single book, but like the first. Um, I'm sorry. What was the rest of the question? I wanted to bring up the annotation.
Yeah, no, well, that all fits right with Chris's question here, which is I noticed you have 3 books planned for release in the first quarter of 2026. And how do you schedule and prepare and produce your work to hit the timeline? What's your day like?
I know how much I'm going to read every day. I know how many I can usually do about 20,000 words a day, which works out to 2 hours of finished recording, and depending on what the book looks like as far as what their margins and font size, usually about 50 pages. So you just sort of do the reverse math on it. If you're going to do a 500-page book that's 100 and let's say 200,000 words, then it's going to take like 10 days of just recording. Um, I have mine down to about 3 to 4 hours of recording for one finished hour, so I can sort of plan around that, and then it's just stick with it. Like like I'm booked out through May at this point, I think. So then having things, how long everything's going to take, and it just you can build in some cushy room if for a sick day here and there,
Well,
but it's just math.
so are you doing something where you have like a whiteboard or you calendar out when you're doing this so that
Oh, everything goes on the Google Calendar, so my wife knows what I'm doing. So we can, because she knows how long I'll need to be down in my box here.
and do you start like the same time? Are you so people are all over the place with this. Are you one of
Sure.
those that says I get in at 7:30 and at 8:30 I do this and at 10 I do this? Or are you more, what's my mood today? And you tweak and adjust from there? How do you approach it?
Um, whatever's gonna get me through or enough time to get those pages in. It's just getting the reading time. Um, excuse me. And then, negotiating with my wife as to who's getting what kids when and all that kind of
Oh,
stuff.
you
It's
have a
just,
life? Wait.
yeah, 2 kids, running all over Southern Maine, a lot of cross country and jazz
Yeah.
band. Um,
I have
yeah,
something to suggest, Garrett, that you should
sure.
think about. When you said you booked out till May, which is fine on this show,
Mhm.
make sure you don't post that anywhere.
Oh, everyone
You
forget I said that.
Yeah, forget you said
Forget
that.
it. I
Only
didn't say it.
because
Stricken from the record.
yeah, because people do it all the time, and it becomes a brag that can cost, and I brought
Oh,
this up a number of times, and
okay.
I want everybody to understand. It's great that you are booked. However, if you say you booked to May, and I'm Johnny from Macmillan, and I say, "Listen, I've got a project. I want you to do it." Something tells me you'd be able to squeeze it in if it was big enough project for a big enough publisher for enough money. If I know that you're booked till May, I won't even bring it up to you.
Got it.
Yeah,
And
Ren's left.
I just think it cuts us. I mean, if you have if you're in a band and or you're on the road in a show, that's what's happening. But working in your home, some schedules can be modified.
Totally.
Some books you thought would take this much time won't, and then it leaves you the possibility of accepting projects that you might prefer than the ones you said yes to already. Not that you say
Absolutely.
no eventually, but that's just a little advice.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
That's a really good point.
You know,
Sorry I said that.
I see people do it all the time, and I find it, one thing I don't like it because people aren't booked, feel shitty about it, and I don't like that.
Understood.
But also, I just think it costs. I mean, it's good. You can't. The best thing to say is, "Oh, I just got booked from so and so to do this book." Don't get the date. Just say, "What a great project you're on."
Got it.
And then, as we all know, when you're looking for work, it's easy to find a job if you're already employed.
True.
It's when you actually need the job you can't get it.
Yeah,
Right.
the further thing that something you planned on for, let's say, February, the publishing house can have an issue and say, "Ooh, we're pushing this one back by 2 weeks, and now there's a hole in the schedule." And
Yeah.
if Ren's listening to this and she was thinking, "Oh, I might have had a book that I would send by Johnny or
Yeah.
Garrett," and then she finds out, "Oh, they're so busy. Well, I'm not going to bother them." And that's what we never want. We want the option of turning it down rather than having them decide, "I'm too busy." Hey, I'm always busy. It cracks me up. People sometimes actually pay attention to that, but most of the time they just, when they need something, they call, and I just try to
I'm taking
squeeze it
off
in.
Christmas.
I stay up late, get up earlier, work around something. That's the way it is. I want them to feel like they're my only priority in life if I can pull that off. It
Totally.
doesn't
That's
always
brilliant,
work,
Don.
but it's the mentality that from their point of view, I am sitting here waiting for their call today, and I'm going to handle their problem as soon as, if I could do it in an hour, I'll do it in an hour. And sometimes when I'm doing that, they don't realize I'm shifting all sorts of stuff around to get their thing in because they have a priority. And they don't know that I'm crazy busy and was up till midnight last night working on something and up at 5 a.m. doing something. None of their business, meaning I don't want to make it their business. I don't want them to worry about that. It's,
Yeah.
they have a need. Cool, we're going to solve it. So when the publisher calls you in February and says, "Hey, I've got this cool book," hopefully you've built enough time in your overall schedule that you could fit
Yep.
in something if it was the right story, if it was the right producer, publisher. And all of us have to be on the lookout for, I don't want them to think I'm so busy that I can't attend to
Yeah.
them.
Fair enough.
And one thing that, by the way, I don't want anybody to misunderstand this. Garrett is excellent at this. I've worked with him now a couple times in New England. I think he's fantastic. I mean, we wouldn't seriously. I'm saying this because I don't want people think, "Well, here's a little lesson for Garrett." That's a lesson for everybody. What we said, and hopefully
Yes.
there are little gold nuggets like that to take away in every show. But Garrett's excellent. And the reason he's good and the reason he works so much is because he works hard at working so much. He's not taking it for granted. He's
Yeah.
studying. He's trying to raise the bar. And I think the lesson, the takeaway is you want everybody wants to work all the time. Everybody wants what Johnny has. Everybody wants what Garrett has. Well, then fucking do what we just told you. Sorry, you know, don't you don't have to take every bit of advice we give, but for Pete's sake, if there's no failure, there's only learning. If something doesn't work, then find another way. If you have the talent, you have the skill, and you work on your craft, I believe there's nothing to stand in your way. And I think Garrett believes it, and Garrett's evidence of
totally
that.
agree.
He's
I
been through,
totally agree.
I mean, it's 1,000 careers, and now he lives in Maine with a wonderful wife and 2 kids who might be okay.
They're probably fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all sugared up.
Yeah.
Christmas. 5
I
pounds
am
of chocolate
also.
each.
I've been eating cookies. We'll talk about that later. So, Chris, as a follow-up, before I get to Ray's, would you be able to work on 2 projects at the same time? Do you do that?
I'll prep. I'll prep one project while recording another, but no, I'll never record 2 different projects at the same time. The one caveat I will add to that is not doing audiobook stuff. Like I'll sometimes do some voiceover work, and that an hour or 2 worth of work. Yeah, I can do that, and then reset Reaper and all the things. Just keeping note where all the levels are, so I can come back to that. But 2 actual narrations on 2 different books, I don't know that I could do that.
And Johnny, do you do that? Are you doing 2 books at the same time sometimes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not at the moment.
No,
it just depends. But yeah, sometimes I'll have I don't often get 2 books at the same time, but I may get a book while I'm on a book, and the schedule could. So what but I don't do. I mean, I still do them on the same day, but I take an hour or 2 in between to, change things up. But here's the thing. I know I can do it. Not because first off, not only I never thought I couldn't, for one thing, so I had no doubts. So that doubts never crept in. And then when I did it, I said I can do it. Do I advise it? No. But sometimes in the scheduling of things, like I wouldn't do 2 17-hour books against each other. That's crazy talk. But if I'm doing a true crime in the afternoon, why can't I do Homer and the Donut Factory in the morning? I don't think I'm gonna get the true crime voices into the Homer story. So it depends what you're doing. If you can, here's the deal. Everybody can do whatever the hell they want as long as they know they can do it. You have to know, to thine own self be true. You've got to know what's too much, what's not enough. And there's nothing wrong with saying it's not for me. I can't do that. Johnny, can you dunk the basketball? Not unless someone's holding me up. No. I'm not gonna don't say you can do things you can't do. It's that easy. But you can do 2 if you believe you can do 2, but I don't know if you can do 2 major. I don't think when I did the record, the Edmund Fitzgerald would bring that because that's the most recent big thing, or Todd Goldberg's new book, Only Way Out. Man, I don't think I could have done those in the same time because they're both absolutely engrossing and fill you up.
Mhm.
And they're emotional.
But prepping a book while you're doing a book, yeah, you can do that, as Garrett mentioned.
I just don't know how I would love actually to know how you got your voice so you could record that much in one day. Like I want to say I'm hoarse at the end of the day, but it's pushing it.
I never, it doesn't seem to ever change. I'll tell you a quick little aside. Don't take Ray's question. Some years ago, my friend Elaine Pasqua, who is on Facebook, she does speeches all the time, usually about I think about the sexual stuff for college athletes and things, and she's talks about the right things to do and things. But she's really she's a wonderful human being, and I met her in Philadelphia. Interesting. All the doctors who do hearing things are in Philadelphia. Apparently, that's the hearing aid center of the world or something.
It's
So
because
they had
of the
some big-
Liberty Bell.
Huh?
The Liberty Bell is
Yeah,
so
right.
loud.
Because they're not. It rang. Everybody went deaf. No,
The shot really rang out the world.
There's a big symposium, so I went. They invited me. They had me, somebody else, and some local beloved newscaster who literally lost his voice for like 3 years. So everybody's talking about all the things they do for voice health, and I do nothing. There's nothing. I mean, I like gargle with bourbon like everybody else, but other than that, I'm not sure. I mean, I always sound pretty much the same. If I have a cold, I can't work, but other than that, I sound like this all the time, no matter how many hours I yap.
Yeah.
So it's never been an issue.
You're a good talker.
Yeah, I mean, I'm good. I'm good at talking out loud and stuff.
Well,
Yeah.
so just so you know, obviously, it's a muscle, and it can be strengthened if you opera singers, people that have a singing background.
Yeah.
There are techniques, so everybody could get better at it and be able to do a little more. And it is something that you build up over time. And Johnny now could do it if he needed to. Some of it's that all is experience, and that builds it. But if you don't have that experience, there are coaches out there that specialize in health.
Oh
My
God, yes.
son's paid crazy amounts of money because of being a sports broadcaster and being on mic 2 to 4 hours a day. And if he does back-to-back games, he could be on the mic for 5 hours in a live situation and has to
Yeah.
get through that. So he's been fortunate enough to work with some of the,
Yeah.
if you watch Major League Baseball, there's about 2 guys that handle all those announcers or play-by-play people. And my son's been able to coach with them and go to them and have them help him be better if he has to be on mic for an extended
Yeah.
period of time. All to say, it's a muscle. It can be
Yeah.
built up. And if you're having problems with your vocal stamina,
Yeah.
there are people out there that know how to be better at that and build that up. And singers do it all day long. And anybody who wants to could study that. There is a certain amount of
I do
science to it.
warm-ups and things. I'm
Yeah.
not suggesting that people don't
Yeah.
take care. You gotta take care of the that's where the money is. Take
Yeah.
care of that.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at, Ray Conley, future owner of this booth, as a matter of fact.
Yay.
When
He
you deliver a
raised
clean
this
punch and
up,
roll
right?
to a publisher or even to an editor, if you outsource editing, how much do you approach cleaning the recording of pops, clicks, mouth noise, etc.? Do you do any of that? None of that. All of that.
I do all of that, thanks in large part to a Mr. Don Baarns helping me set up my mastering setup to get rid of those clicks and pops and stuff.
That can be
But yeah.
automated these days in a sense that you should be able to drag in your audio and have a setup where you press one button and you don't have to know a whole lot about it once it's set up any more than I don't know about how everything works in my car either. I just go in, turn the key, I start driving. I don't have to know everything about it. I need to know some fundamentals, but once the seat's adjusted where I want it,
Yep.
I don't think if I
Just run
press
it.
the one button, the seat goes back to where it should be and I'm off a drive. It's the same thing
Yeah.
with this when done and set up well.
Totally.
Johnny?
I've never done any of that. Never. Not once.
Yeah, and you
I don't even know what we're talking about.
yeah. You Johnny, you have your white privilege there.
I don't think that's how that works.
Yeah. Well, that's how it works. I'm just saying. And your mature privilege, we'll say. You're actually, and you do get a benefit. I kind of laugh sometimes. I know some of the most accomplished narrators in the world, fortunately, through things I've done over the last few years. And I find that they sometimes, their audio is just okay sometimes, but all the publishers love their acting and would put up with something that from me, if I submit the same level, they may not put up with because I don't have the name or the acting skills. And having the background that these two gentlemen have and that you can gain as well gives you an advantage because they want your acting skills. And if there's a little thing that's tiny, they just deal with it because the tech can deal with it and they can deal with it. An editor can deal with it. There's so many avenues. So get your acting up and a lot of that stuff fades into the background.
I'm not aware of mouth noises or clicks or pops or anything. I'm just not. I mean, now maybe they're there, but no one's ever mentioned it. And I've done some books myself that I produced, and I sent them out to Jennifer Blum and Lisa Ware to do the editing on it. But I don't know what that even means.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys who do one house, I don't. The actors have to wear so many hats. You're a singer and a dancer and an actor. That's a lot. And in audiobooks, you've got to be all those things and a director as well.
Yep.
I don't think making me be an editor. I just screw you. I've done enough stuff.
You'd be a great editor, Johnny. I'll tell you.
Let the people who know about it do it.
Yeah.
Ray, I think we read your question wrong. You meant raw audio going into an editor, not stuff that we're publishing ourselves or that we're
Wait.
or that
When you deliver clean punch and roll to a publisher, even to an editor, how do you? Well, then why aren't they cleaning the pops and clicks and mouth noises if I'm sending it to them?
Yeah, they should be.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Ray. I misunderstood. And Stacy, thanks for calling that out. No, we're going into a publisher or an editor. No, they'll run
Yeah,
it
they don't
through
want you to
their
mess with it.
no, they'll run it through their stack.
Yep, and I do know though, there is a little dirty secret there. A lot of people are still doing a mouth declick before they send it in, even to the major publishers, because a lot of times, I just will tell you the dirty secret in the business these days. Some of these editors at the major publishers don't have time to take out your mouth noise. I mean, it's just not that big. At first, it might not be that big a deal, and secondarily, if it's just around the edges, they just kind of go, I don't have time to deal with that. And they don't run it through. So a lot of people sending raw are still mouthy clicking. It happens all the time. Okay. All right, Stacy's.
Stacy's one of my
It's on
favorite people.
fire.
I love that guy.
I gotta highlight that comment because
Yeah.
that's really good. Okay.
Let's
Plus, we
rename
wanted
the
to see
show.
his
Damn,
that's
smiling
my
face
new-
there.
It's my new logo tagline. Damn it, Garrett. Charlie Cooper Audiobooks. Damn it, Garrett.
Yeah.
I like it.
So where
DBA.
do you see this going? Do you see AI taking over, Garrett? I mean, where are you looking out here the next 2 years? Where would you see yourself a year from now based on where you are today?
Hopefully doing the same thing. But I'm also, you can't just have all of your eggs in, at least I can't, all of my eggs in just one basket. So, you start looking at other opportunities because who knows? Yeah, AI is gonna hit us really hard. Though thankfully there's a lot of publishers out there who are refusing to do anything with AI, which is awesome. But yeah, I'm still preparing for there, whether I want it to happen or not. So yeah,
Garrett, I will say,
yeah.
if things do go south for the industry, I'd be happy to move up to Maine and open a restaurant with you, a little bar restaurant called Damn It, Garrett.
I like it. Yeah.
Yeah,
let's do
me
it.
too.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I used to do some emceeing and stuff, so I'm sort of looking to kind of get back into that around auctions and stuff. So hopefully still doing the same thing. But I don't know. I am just really, really thankful every single day I get to wake up and do this. Like I said before, it's like it's a dream come true. So I'll take it as long as I can. Try to make contingencies if God forbid AI suddenly buys Audible or something. But yeah, I guess that's it.
But
Antifa
okay,
will
so
buy.
it's first off, Johnny said it earlier. Don't bury your head and think that AI isn't going to take some low-hanging fruit. It's going to. They're going to get better and better at this stuff. It's crazy. I'm monitoring it. I've been paying attention to what they're doing. It still can't. It can't tell a joke. It
Right.
can't. And if a joke is written out, it doesn't understand that it's sarcasm. There's a whole bunch of things it doesn't understand. So the actors totally nail it. And if it's like a drum machine, sure, it could be done with a computer, but there are times where they just want a human to do it, even though they could do it the other way. And it has a different feel. It's subtle, but it has a different feel in many cases. It'll be the same thing. But don't think that it's not going to take some of the low-hanging fruit. If you think you're going to just skate along, good luck. So pay attention to it.
Garrett, tell us what you're working on now, what's coming out soon, because I want to make sure we say Merry Christmas and everything to everybody.
Sure. I've got actually my first romance novel is coming out next in mid-January with recorded books, and it's Ms. Danielle Steele.
Oh,
So
wow,
that's-
nice.
Yeah, thank you. It's called The Devil's Daughter, and that'll be out in mid-January. And then a couple new lit RPG series I'm starting. One called Rules of Biomancy. I'm actually starting to record that one next with Rules of Biomancy 2 next week through Athon, and another science fiction called Captain Shadow with a new series called Star Wind. It's really cool. It's like pirates in space, where they actually use the solar wind to push ships through
Oh.
space.
Hey, be careful with the
Yeah.
pirate voice. That'll hurt you if you're not careful.
Oh, I'm with you
Yeah.
on that one. Yeah, I just try to pull it back to just mainly Irish and forget.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then another series called Gladesville Grove, and then the second of the Academy of Outcasts series with Athon called Magic and Bullets. And that'll
Good
be
for
out in
you.
May.
Okay, here's the takeaway. Some of these publishers like Garrett already, and so they are going, I like what he did. Do you send things in late without telling them? Like you get to the last minute and say, oh, could we move this deadline out a week?
Nope.
No? Are you
Nope.
So tell us, are you historically early, mid, right on the money? Um,
I would say early, probably 50% of the time.
and
I
what's your definition of early? That's an hour and a half before the deadline, or that's
yeah,
3
like
weeks?
a good day or two, I think is I'll consider early. Um, yeah, a day or two early. I try to build in a little extra room just in case something goes wrong. Kid gets sick, I get sick, the electricity goes out, blah blah blah. Um, so, usually I'll schedule out a 120,000 word book for about 2 weeks, even though I can record it in 6 days, and then do the mastering and editing in another day or two, and then you got a couple of days to play with. So either take it off or start the new book sooner.
Cool. Cool, cool,
Yeah,
cool. That's, I mean, being early is being on time in this business. And nothing, publishers love people that are on time, and they love the Johnny Hellers that are putting things in early on a regular basis. That's just they don't want to have to worry about that kind of stuff.
yeah,
And if you're not getting your stuff in on time, that's a nice. So learn how to build out your schedule to where you have enough wiggle room. So when something goes wrong, and it will, that
yeah.
you have the ability to recover from that. So that's really cool.
And
Johnny, you're
even
the
if
same way. You're always early, correct?
Yeah.
You're
But yeah, I to understand though, I don't have the added time issue of doing my own editing and mastering and stuff. I haven't got a clue what that is. I mean, I do punch roll, but I don't, they get the raw audio and they put it together and I do the retake. So I'm always early, but just because I've developed that style. But you want to be. I've always said to my students, you want to answer problems for publishers, not create new ones. That has to
right,
be the thought process. You continue to work, and I've got Vengeance. I'll be working on February, which is another Tom Clavin nonfiction about
nice.
Custer's last stand in
Hmm.
the West American Indian Wars. Sitting Bull, Crazy Horse.
Oh, fantastic.
Clavin does some nice stuff. I can do. Yeah, he does some great stuff. And I've been honored to do his stuff. And I have a book coming out in 2 days, which is I redid it. I'd done it years ago for 10. It's called Full Service. I think we talked about that. Where the filthiest book I've ever done, and I got to do it twice. And I'm doing it, and Recorded Books is called and asked me to redo a kid's book. I think after I don't know what the contractual thing is, after 7 years or something,
Mhm.
some of these books are the publisher re-ups and they stay out, or they don't. And if you don't do them, if they don't want to do them again, they go away.
Sure.
So I'm doing this really filthy book, which comes out in a couple of days, and then I'm doing a kid's hockey book, which I
it's same
stuff like
same.
that. I love.
That's the best thing about this business is how many different things you can get
Yeah, yeah,
done.
yeah,
It's
and
it's
yeah.
insanity what one you'd go from one book
It
to
is
another.
amazing. It is amazing stuff.
Yeah. So many fun stories. It's
And
great.
and some things do last 10 or more years. Lisa and I were talking last night about a book that I recorded. So in the early days, I did a couple nonfiction things just to understand the business. That we're going back 14 years ago, and I did a couple dozen books on prepping because I could fog a mirror, and I auditioned for it. And between those two factors, they said sure, because they didn't have anybody else that was dumb enough to do these things. And they actually, though, we got a little royalty check off something that I did over, I think it's 12 years ago. And it
Fun.
comes in every month. And I said, we should really add that up. We might have a couple of good dinners every year on something we did 10 or 12 years. It was over 12 years ago. And I mean, it's not a huge amount, but it's still coming in because this author was so lazy, he never took it off. And I guess he could go ahead and do it, but it's still there selling he sells a
That's
few
great.
books every month. It cracks me up.
That's really great.
Is your prep pre-read thing ready to be bought and
Here's what's
sold?
happening. Pre-read is, I've worked on the nonfiction. So for those of you who don't know, most of you do, I've been working on this project called Pre-read, which allows you to do all the prep in advance. My goal is to get 90% of the prep that you would have to do and get it in 10 minutes. And then you have to do the other 10% and you need to read the book, but all the prep work's going to be done for you, or a significant amount, 90%. And I just worked on the nonfiction. And so now it understands fiction versus nonfiction, and and it has a whole different summary and a whole different chapter breakdown,
Wow.
and the vocabulary is different between the two. And I'll show it off next time we get together. I'll have it completed, because when this one thing I'm working on is finished, which I project is today, Then I'm working on all the sales stuff in order to make it available to people so they can buy it. And this thing has been, I'm probably over 1,000 hours at this point, but that's what it takes to do well. And I'm using AI in the background and over 10,000 lines of my own code combined. So it's using my expertise in development and a lot of other stuff, and then using some AI to do summaries and stuff. And I know the good, the bad, the ugly about AI. And if you want to complain about it, talk to me. Okay.
Damn.
Oh, I
then
want
if
to
you want,
let people know in January, end of January, 27th to 28th, if you go to voiceoverextra.com, you'll see that Sean Pratt and I are doing a fiction and a nonfiction. One night each. We will Sean runs the nonfiction, I'll run the fiction, and we'll both beat each other's thing to make fun of each other while we're working. So that's coming up. So if you want to get involved in that, and
Cool.
everybody, we want to wish you the happiest of holidays. Thanks for being with us for, was it 2 years now we're doing this, right?
yeah, we're getting close to that. Yes, it's getting,
Yeah,
yeah,
so you
somewhere
guys,
like that. And I can't remember, are we on next week or not?
yeah,
Or-
what is today? Let's
There's
see.
the 23rd.
Today's the 23rd, and I can't remember. That obviously be about the 30th.
Give me 2 seconds and I'll tell you. Give me 1 second.
I did the math on that. Today's the 23rd, and so yeah, it should be the 30th.
The January, no, wait, the 30th. It's me and you chatting if we want.
Okay. I always want, Johnny. Always
Well,
want, baby.
then we're on. And I want to thank Garrett because first, I'm very fond of you. You're a good guy.
Thanks, bud.
And I'm so glad that things are going so well for you. Very happy to see you in this thing, and we'll have you back. You know, Steve Milieu from Athon
Yeah.
has been on the show, and he's going to be on again this year. I got to
Oh,
book
he
him.
has. Oh, fantastic. I didn't know
And for
that.
those of you out there who want to be on the show or want to have a guest that you think we should have on, please let us know when Don posts his thing in the mornings. Please hit likes are great, but a comment always helps further get the word out there and stuff. So please, do comment and do keep coming back. Tell your friends. This is this is a labor of love, and hopefully you guys get something out of it. Because God knows we don't.
Yeah. Well, it's like a lot of things in life. Sometimes there isn't on that day you don't get paid for it, but it's a building block and another one that we continue to do. So
I charged Garrett today.
yes,
for
that's
sure.
right.
Yeah,
That's right.
take Venmo,
the
right?
guest fee is becoming extensive. So
Enjoy the boat payment.
yeah. All right. Well, we're happy you're here. And of course, we look forward to seeing you on the wires. Happy New Year. Happy Kwanzaa. All the cool things.